event. My name is Anamari Fanthorpe, and I'll be your host for today. Today, we're talking with David Frank from Spectra Technical Copywriting, and we're going to be getting into how to build trust to win business. So we're going to talk about lots of things. Hey, how we can communicate with our customers, how we can get information from our customers. And I know you've got lots of insight for us here to expand that reach and just generate some more trust. And this is the first of 2 sessions we're going to be doing with you. So I'm excited about that. So welcome, David. We haven't had you on Digital Boost yet. So welcome to Digital Boost.
Thank you, Anamari, for that warm welcome. It's great to be here and lots of interesting stuff to talk about.
I reckon we kick off, and while you get yourself sorted, I'll make sure your share screen is working, and then I'll jump and get all the chats open. So if you're watching us on social media, just make sure you use the comment section and the chat function, and I'll pull those questions through for David.
Okay. Would you like me to go to share screen now?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Oops. Where is it? Was there a minute ago?
It's always the way, isn't it? Not like a good tech issue to get yourself kicked off on the right foot, hey?
Yeah.
Now we're very compassionate over here at Digital Boost. Take your time. We all have these issues, and we did just check it, so it should be all good.
Yeah.
For those folks of you, it has been a long weekend, so this is a short week, but we've got a great lineup. While you're sorting that out, I'll just let everybody know what's happening this week. We are going to be running a session with Jung. He's Jung Business Coaching. As we all know, it is the end of the financial year, and we want to kick off our year with a great session on business planning that can implement some of these strategies into, and that's going to be a workshop on Thursday. So if you tune in with us on social media, just remember that those sessions are closed. So you need to register to be able to join us. It's a meeting setting, so you can turn your mic on, you can turn your camera on, and get your questions answered. So feel free to join us for that on Thursday between 10 a.m. and 12. Have you found, you got it there?
Okay, Anamari, we're good to go. It disappeared. It's reappeared.
Oh, cool. You just start whenever you're ready. I'm just waffling on to fill the space.
Software is great when it works, isn't it?
Yeah. There we go.
All right. And so, yeah, that's just me for the moment. So today we're talking about how to build trust to win business. So we may as well go to our first slide. Oops. To the top. So trust, trust is something fundamental to our lives. It governs everything. We don't sort of think about it too much, but who we form relationships with, who we don't, what we read or not, what we believe online and what we don't, and of course, who we do business with and who we don't. So what we're doing today is helping you to build a bridge of trust to your target market, or your target audience. So on the other side there of the harbour is your target market, that city there. And you want to build a bridge of connection with them, right? To work for them and to work for you. So the focus is online, excuse me, particularly your website, but it applies to all aspects of your business, social media, and of course offline, brochures, your personal interactions with people. And people often focus a lot on channels, marketing channels. A few years ago, it was all about websites, and then that came into a mature view that they had their place, but they're not everything. And then social media, and there's various fads, but unless you've got the substance of to build trust, it's going to be of limited effect. And once you have that, it will make everything more effective. You'll get a better return on your investment for your marketing, which is what we want to help you do. So blowing your trumpet is not the way. We are trustworthy. We're honest, really. that just tends to raise doubts in people's minds. And so there's a much better way of doing it. All right. So you've got something of real value and really want to help your clients, but how can you get them to trust you? I love squirrels. When I was in London and Vancouver, I used to look out for them. The locals pretty much ignored them, but I love this picture. So here's somebody reaching out with some nuts to the squirrel, and the squirrel is reaching out in trust to take the nuts. So in order for this connection to happen, you've got to have, on the one hand, trustworthiness, which is a lot of what we're going to be talking about today, and trust. So if you just have trust without trustworthiness, then people get ripped off, or the squirrel gets kidnapped or something. If you just have trustworthiness without trust, then the squirrel misses out on the nuts, right? And the client misses out on something good. So we want to build that connection from both sides. So yeah, trust is a critical factor for the success of your business. And this hasn't changed, and it will never change. Our technological environment changes, but these basics don't change. Okay. It's a precious commodity these days, and can even be a differentiator depending on what market you're in. You know, if it's known to be less than honest or a bit dodgy, and you've got that high trustworthiness factor, you know, you can really stand out and do well, and clients can do well through that. Yeah. So, you know, just 100 years ago in a lot of places, it was taken for granted, and all you had to do was present your products and services and persuade people, and they'd come to you. There was a sort of a basic assumption there. Research shows that it's the biggest factor for success. And like I was saying, it's not something we sort of consciously think about too much. And it isn't based on what we might think so much. You might be a little bit surprised by some of the research, although it'll probably make intuitive sense as well. And trust, the good news is it can actually be gained quite quickly. If you have the substance and you communicate effectively, you can have that. What is it? Basic definition: a firm belief or confidence in the character, strength, or truth of someone or something. Sound familiar? Feeling safe when vulnerable, and the glue that enables relationships and business to work. And your business may well stand, or will stand or fall on it. They say the aim of marketing is to earn and nurture trust or confidence. So once you get to that point with people, selling's easy, right? You just, ideally, you say, hey, look, I think you've got this need and issue. Here's the answer. This is what you need. Oh, okay, thank you very much. It's crucial for your brand and reputation. In fact, that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? Your reputation. People trust and value or esteem your brand or your business. The higher level of trust, the more business you'll get. Quite simple. And it's a real key in recession, where we are seen to be offering safe value for reluctant spenders. And it can actually enable us to get things done with efficiency, ease, and success. And when you think about it, if you've known situations where there hasn't been a lot of trust, you know, everything has to be formal, you know, in writing, there's a lot of checking, there's less open communication and collaboration. Everything gets siloed, and, you know, this can apply within an organization or outside it, in marketing. But I think people are becoming more aware of the need for collaboration these days, working together, which is based on trust. Just another thought is that most people follow followers. It's only the brave early adopters who follow the leaders, and then everybody else observes and then jumps on the bandwagon of trust. Okay, research. A company called Trusted Advisor Associates in the US surveyed 72,000 respondents. That's a massive sample. That's what you call statistically significant. And they found out that this trust wasn't so much about just more expertise or letters after your name, but what they called soft skills, underlying beliefs, values, and principles. And they're way too complex to fake. It's got to be real, this substance. So here's the formula they came up with, very scientific, based on their observations. Trustworthiness equals, on the top line, that's all the positive factors, credibility plus reliability plus what they call intimacy over self-orientation. So yeah, the top line has all the positive factors. The bottom line has a negative factor, which we'll explain. Okay. Credibility, firstly, in what we say, being knowledgeable and truthful. Reliability, what we do. Dependable and predictable delivery. And to explain intimacy, it's the safety and close proximity or the security felt when entrusting people with something precious. Like letting them into your home, a tradie, letting somebody into your business, looking at your financials and that sort of thing. And I was listening to the radio the other day, listening to Billy Joel. Don't know if you made it to his concert recently. Honesty is mostly what I need from you. Some good lyrics. And the bottom factor in the equation is self-orientation of motives and attention on our own interests versus others. So you could say it's the degree of selfishness or disregard for others' interests. Or conversely, it's much better if we have a win-win mentality. We're considering others. And obviously, we want to do well in business and make money, but if we're purely dwelling on that, it doesn't work so well, rather than looking outward to help others and with solving their problems and helping them reach their goals. And as I was saying, it can be gained quite quickly, trust, if the above equation is favourable. And most people decide to trust or not almost instantaneously through a mix of rational and emotional judgment, and quite unconscious. So just boiling it down to really simple terms, can be seen as having two parts: ability and attitude on our part, your part as a business. So ability is the means or skill to do something. Basically, they know what they're doing, competence. The other side is attitude, which is their motivation. They mean well, they have integrity, they're fair, and they care about others' interests. We need both aspects. With just ability, it's not safe because you can't trust them to look after your interests. Like successful criminals, very capable. On the other hand, with just attitude, you may like someone well enough, but you're not going to risk your money with them if they don't know what they're doing. Okay, it involves mind and emotion. Firstly, we need to build a case to prove our ability, rationally convincing prospects' minds. You've got to show them the evidence, right? Through your website, your personal dealings, social media, etc. Secondly, we need to convey an attitude that makes them feel good about approaching us, appealing to their emotions, the feel-good factor. Client feedback is a great way of doing this and very important. Prospects do due diligence on your company, on you, through your website and, Google reviews, word of mouth, all that sort of thing. And they'll be looking for your ability and attitude. And that speaks a lot louder than blowing your own trumpet. That third-party independent endorsement, that's what people look for. It's the following, the followers. The good news is you don't have to wait for this feedback to land on your plate. You can actually get it whenever you want, as long as you've satisfied a few clients. You've got a few happy, willing, consenting clients. So yeah, just getting client stories. Identify some friendly, ideal clients, the kind that you want more of. And capturing their stories by 15-minute phone interviews. It doesn't have to take too long if you keep it focused and relaxed. It's easiest done by an objective outsider who understands the technicalities or the nature of your industry and can be trusted to relate safely to your client, win their confidence and get them talking openly, because we want it to be real. Not just telling you what you want to hear. Find the gold, the substance that generates trust. So firstly, you can look for client pain points, issues, interests, deeper motivations, and values, while at the same time identifying company strengths, value adds, and points of difference that meet those above issues and areas. If you can, find out bottom line benefits with hard figures if possible, like percentage production increase, labour hours reduced, dollars saved, that sort of thing. And that's great if you can. You can't always. So just focusing in on the ability aspect of the gold, quality of the work done down to intricate details. And sometimes, some of those details are really important to clients, maybe more than you realise, and they really appreciate that. Cutting edge tools and technology, doing really clever things that are not otherwise possible. Clever, cost-effective or innovative solutions to get around problems. Clients really appreciate that. Outside the box thinking and skills. Fixing complex problems. On the attitude side, genuine interest shown by listening to client needs, issues, and goals before jumping to action. You probably appreciate being heard. When you approach a business, you want something, and especially if it's a little bit complex, you want a bit of dialogue, right? And to be heard rather than being, told, given a cookie cutter, one size fits all thing put on you. Fitting your products or services into your client's world on their terms instead of making them fit into yours. So, you're really finding out about their world, understanding, showing empathy, and asking the right questions, and adapting your product or service to meet that. Sharing ideas and advice on how to use your products to best advantage, save time and money, or make life easier. People really appreciate that. Commitment to go above and beyond to deliver what the client needs, even in difficult circumstances. Now, one recent example was an IT company that set somebody up just before the COVID lockdowns to work remotely, and went out of their way to do that. And it was massive for the company. It really saved their bacon. They could have been in big trouble if they hadn't been able to do that. So you're rescuing clients from scary vulnerabilities, pains, and problems. That goes a long way, and generates a lot of client loyalty, that sort of thing. Taking responsibility to acknowledge and fix mistakes. Come on, no one's perfect. with good responsiveness to complaints without passing blame to others. And it's quite important on, for example, Google reviews and online social media to respond, perhaps to explain situations where the client may have got let down, maybe the company you're too busy, or if you've got unreasonable people, you can respond to that and people can see that, but at least you're communicating and you're open about it. An ongoing relationship, not a short-term transactional focus, with a willingness to work in collaboration. We touched on that earlier, the willingness to listen. And, sometimes clients' knowledge is quite valuable in their preferences. They've got some good ideas on how they want things done. And it's really worthwhile tuning in and talking to them about that so that you can put the best of what you have with the best that they have with their knowledge of their business and put that together for the best results. Putting the client story together. So writing it up in the client's own words is really effective, more than a lot of case studies. They tend to, it's written by the company with a comment from the client. But if it's written in the client's words in a natural way, it's a really interesting story. And of course, they have the authority, right? The third party, rather than you blowing your own trumpet. Yeah, major on the bits showing the client issues, their vulnerabilities, pain points, and the company goal that answers those things. You can easily get sidetracked on other things, but just to keep focus on that. Write up the story and send a draft to the client. They make any changes, and then final editing, tidy up to send to them for approval. Now, we're going to be going into more detail on this in the next seminar that Anamari was speaking about, May the 9th, I think it is. More the practical side, step by step. Okay, so we're just sort of glossing over it here to give you an appreciation. So once you've got these case studies and testimonials, you can broadcast them on your website or perhaps feature them on your social media or brochures or anything like that. And you can reap the benefits of this trust building over and over, by broadcasting through your marketing channels. Now, word of mouth is great. It's still the ideal, the ultimate, but it only goes around so many people, depending on what sort of business, unless you're a local cafe. Yeah. So as I was saying, you can send it around all these different channels. And you can use the market intelligence from the interviews to write your website content that's oozing with this gold. And again, referring to the next Q&A which is entitled to Find and Communicate Your Hidden Value to Win Business. And we'll be going into the practicalities of how you lay it out on your website. So it's very practical. Other ways, perhaps a little more familiar, of building trust: credentials, relevant qualifications, industry associations, trust by association, by relationship. If you trust somebody who trusts somebody, then you tend to trust that end person, and that's how things work in life. Reputable business partners, same story. High status or authority clients, maybe just logos, which is quite popular these days. Awards can really stand you out. Yeah, faces, I believe, are important. The business owner and management names, personal photos are great. And maybe profiles. For some reason, it seems to be a trend on websites to not have this, but I believe it's really important. I like to see a face. I find it hard to trust a nameless, faceless company, which is just a front put out there on the internet. Friendly first-person greeting, just in the way you communicate on your website. And just this transparency and upfrontness versus an anonymous, faceless company. At the end of the day, people do business with people, right? Regardless of the technological environment. And I was talking to Anamari about this recently. This just having this sort of holistic, humane view of people, the whole person, considering, well-being, emotions, the whole lot, is better than just, money transaction. Because, life is more about people than just money. Money's a commodity. Showing genuine commitment, guarantees, warranties. Sometimes people are afraid to offer those in case they get abused, but in practice, they don't tend to be, and they can do a lot more good than harm. Just the fact of the extra trust value for a lot of people, just for the occasional unreasonable person who abuses that. L.B. Martin, I'm not sure how many of you are old enough to remember him in the 70s. Alan Martin. It's the putting right that counts, and he had a great reputation for service. I heard of a story of someone whose TV wasn't working too good because of reception, and he sent his guys out and they jacked up this really big aerial and made it work well, satisfied the customer. Amazing story, which is still going around. I mean, you wouldn't want to have to do that for every customer. You go out of business with the cost, but just that sort of extreme commitment really shows something. And Alan Martin, I mean, he was a deadpan guy, no charisma whatsoever, but, people trusted him. And I know a guy like that in real estate. He's, there's no charm or charisma, any of that, just a straight up guy, lovely guy, gives helpful advice, very trustworthy, and he's done quite well. So, just be yourself. If you're a friendly extrovert, people enjoy that too. So it's just being real and authentic about it. So, it's not just about your products and services, right? It's about you and your staff, your management. This value that brings trust. Yeah, so this is the next talk on the 9th of May on value. I just gave the title before. And looking at the value, or what I call the hidden gold in your business, which might be sitting right under your nose. And your clients have that, they know. And what keeps them coming back to you. And as I said, we're talking about how to present that effectively on your website to attract those ideal clients. Just to tell you about my free offer of a website assessment, or maybe social media brochures, whatever, to have a look at what you've got and maybe chat about how that can be improved, how you can really capitalize more on this trustworthiness and bring out the gold, communicate that better to get the business you really deserve. And I've just done a small rebrand actually on my website, spectracommunications.nz. The old one that Anamari mentioned will forward to that anyway, but it's Spectra. And so I do copywriting, mainly web content, and a bit of technical writing, and just some of the broader issues, usability and design. I enjoy working with those other people. Yeah, all right. That's what we're here for, Q&A. So if you need to clarify anything, want to talk about any practical examples, or just Anamari, whoever you want to handle.
Yeah, wonderful. So much good information here, and lots of people tuning in online. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. That's kind of the main way that we do that throughout this session. And yeah, I'm just keeping a record of what's happening here. As David mentioned, we'll be running a session on find and communicate your hidden value to business on the 9th of May at 10 a.m. So this session will also go across all social media. So if you're out there on YouTube watching, or Facebook, LinkedIn, you can tune in that way. And of course, you're easy to get hold of, David, on many channels. So if you're on LinkedIn and that's your platform, feel free to reach out. I'm just going to my eyes are going to be skirting because I'm going to be looking to check the other streaming platforms I can't have. They don't all pull through, unfortunately. So just making sure I don't miss any questions. If you got a question for David, now is the time. Make sure that you get your questions answered when we have the experts here. That's why they're here. Popping back, man, keeping my mind working quickly this morning. And it looks like, yeah, we're kind of in a good place. Now, you have an interesting story. You moved from, engineering into kind of copywriting. So here we go. Hi, how does one keep safe and not get targeted by the wrong types? That's an interesting question, because when you do put yourself out there, you got to make sure that you're, you still have a bit of privacy. Another question here from Emma. Any tips for communicating trust in a profile blurb? So maybe let's start with the safety and then move on to that second question. Thanks so much, guys, for dropping those in the chat.
Yeah. If you do your website content well, or your other channels, you can attract the right kind of people with the values you present. If you focus a little bit on the kind of clients you're looking for, like in your web content, if you're really laser focused on your real ideal clients, there's a sort of a big general target market, right? And within that is your real ideal. And sometimes you can waste time trying to appeal to everybody, but focus on those people you're looking for. That's certainly one factor. Yes, I haven't had too much experience with sort of abuse of that. What else can I say about that?
That's okay. If that's your answer, that's your answer. You don't have to. We've got other questions coming through, so we can get back to that. Maybe if you need more clarity, let us know, Caswell, and we'll go dive a little bit deeper. Should we move into Emma's question on any tips for communicating trust in a profile blurb?
Yeah, that's a challenge in a small space. It's quite a holistic thing, right? It's right through your website. Your greeting on your homepage, your about us. Obviously, your about us page is really important, which your profile is part of that, like that. With a limited space, that can be a challenge. But generally, something that I've learned is indirect persuasion or graceful persuasion rather than trumpet blowing, which I mentioned. So rather than making a big deal about things, you just weave them in, things that you've achieved, things that you've done, relationships that you've had, and maybe what clients say. There's a skill in doing that appears very natural, but it's kind of strategic. So all those things kind of slip under the radar. If you do it right, they slip under the radar. As I say, rather than saying we are this and we are that and we are the other thing, we say, oh, I did this, oh, and we did this with this client, and that was a result, and I've had this experience, and So yeah.
So would you say that it's more about changing the focus instead of saying, hey, I nailed this sale, or I blew this person away, saying something like, oh, it was so kind of blah, 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 to say that they enjoyed the services that I had provided, because that brings me joy to know that I've given value to my clients. Would that be a good example, would you say?
Yes, focusing on them, on the benefits for them, that they're happy, and giving appreciation for their credit, being humble about it, and you just more focus on them than on yourself. You just slip your part in indirectly, in passing, under the radar. And
Perfect. Okay. Another question here. If my support to clients is providing advice, critique, and then the client doesn't feel comfortable about it, what should I do?
Right. So the client has asked for advice or critique.
Yeah, but then possibly they haven't liked the critique. Like, is there a way that you navigate those kind of situations?
It's a real skill, and this whole classic thing with the consultant and the client. The customer's not always right, but you've got to be polite and humble about it. So if you dig deep and look into what the client is actually wanting to accomplish ultimately. They may not voice that, but digging a bit, finding what they really want. They may present you with what they think they need. It might be just a means to something, but if you dig a little deeper and find out the bigger picture, then you're in a position to sort of coach them or to chat to them politely and just persuade them, hey, I think what you're really trying to achieve is this, but what you're thinking there is probably not the best way to do it. If we try it this way, I think you're going to get the better results that you're looking for. And just engaging with them, obviously try not to be critical, just build on anything positive that they have, and building on that, and maybe just changing direction and being polite, and hopefully they'll come around to see that, and you're building the relationship and through all this, right? The collaboration or the ongoing.
I like to do a compliment I call it a compliment sandwich. So there's two techniques that just came to my mind with this question. One is the compliment sandwich, where you say something positive that's happened, then you give a critique, and then you say something else positive that's happened, and it cushions that blow of the thing that needs to alter. That's one way of delivering that kind of information that could be construed as negative. The other thing that I really like to do when I worked in different industries was, if a client's coming to me and saying one thing, the first thing that I say is, I understand, and then I tell a little story about, a synopsis of something that's similar, and how that played out, because I kind of already know that this isn't going to work out. Right. And then I give, so why don't we do this? Why don't we try it like this and give that trial kind of thing? And then we can go there. I mean, obviously, if it's going to be a failure, regardless, you want to discourage them as much as possible, because that'll reflect on you as well. But those are some pieces of some quick tips that I've picked up over the years. I don't know if you like those, David, but
that's brilliant, Anamari. You're the expert. You're doing very well.
So no, definitely not. You are definitely the expert. Some positive feedback here. David, you have some amazing snippets of info during this. Is there any way we could see a copy of the slides? Things like the trustworthiness formula, etc., was gold. What I'd recommend, Michelle, is that you can either catch them on the social media channels, or if David's comfortable, we can put them up as a PDF underneath the recording on the website. So I'll have a chat with him about that. If you want to pull up that slide, they could take a quick screenshot as well, David. That'd be another option. So
look, I'm happy with all that, Anamari, straight off. Just to mention that this comes out of an article I wrote some time ago on LinkedIn, which I think you've read, Anamari. So that's another good place to look. But I'm happy with all those options.
Okay, great. I think what we'll do is, if you want to, we'll transfer this session into a PDF, and then it'll be uploaded onto the website. And they're called like learning guides, I believe now. It's changed a few times. I'm a dinosaur with Digital Boost at this point, so the naming conventions have changed slightly, but it's either a learning guide or a learning summary that will pop up on the website as well. Comment here from Lee. Thank you. Great session. Trustworthy, especially important in my line of work. So it was really relevant to me. Fantastic, Lee. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please, the formula on the screen. Yeah. Can you find that slide and just pop it up? Because that would be really, really great for those that just want to grab it right now. And I'm just going to check the other channels and make sure that we've gotten all the questions, because this is just coming through Zoom. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anybody. Because we do have quite a lot of people, especially on YouTube, watching currently. Seems like we're pretty good on the question front. Nothing happening across those channels that I can see. If for any reason you have a question out there and I didn't see it, contact support or contact David, and we can get that question answered for you. So our support line is support@digitalboost.co.nz, digitalboost.co.nz, support@digitalboost.co.nz. And we can get in touch with David, or feel free to contact him. Yeah. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. It looks like our questions have kind of slowed down, and it's mostly just thank you. So that might be where we leave it off for today, David. We got to save some of these goods for the session on May 9th. We're going to dive a bit deeper there.
Yeah.
It'll be really good.
There's the formula, Anamari.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So folks, you can just go ahead and take a screenshot and see you on Thursday. If you're tuning in for the workshop, we'll be doing our business plan for the new tax year. Thank you. I realize that most are good people. I need to just get my message out there. That's right. We have to start somewhere. We can't sell our services or what we're doing in the desert. Unfortunately, you do have to put yourself out there if you want to get your business going. And I'm just double checking. I don't want to miss anything. I think we're good, David. Thank you so much for joining us, Kiara, on Digital Boost. It's been a wonderful session, and I think everybody's gotten a lot of great value out of it. I'm looking forward to having you on again later in I guess it's a few months. We've got to wait, but we'll be, putting it in the calendar. So feel free to register to that on Digital Boost or drop it in your calendar if you're tuning in with us on socials. So thanks, guys. Have a great day. Ka kite.